3, 2, 1. Welcome to the David the Dog Trainer Podcast. Episode 99.
Man, you're in the musical mood now.
Something like that. All right, guys, we're here. This is our first episode we've done since our stretch of fucking guest podcasts. Mm-hmm. Without a guest, I should say.
Yeah, without a guest.
So we had a couple bangers that came out recently. What did we do? Actually, we got another one coming out. When's the Blake one come out? Is that Monday?
Yep.
Okay, so when's this one going to come out? The following Monday?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
This will be the week of Christmas, I think.
Christmas week.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
You'll be
Yeah, so we did Garrett from American Standard Canine. We did the Dog Daddy, and then we did fucking Blake from Dream Come True Canine. Which the funny thing to me is like I'm looking at like how different all of those trainers are.
Oh my god, it's like worlds apart.
Well, kind of. I mean, I guess like Blake isn't that different from Garrett, obviously, but like then add Dog Daddy into the mix and stuff. Kind of wild, right?
Yeah,
it was interesting. I guess today I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about today. So I guess today we'll recap some of those. Let's talk a little bit about kind of, the flow of all that. Cause that was a lot. There was a lot of conversation that took place over the course of those. I mean,
a lot.
So Garrett, we had planned for, I said, I'd like to do between an hour and 2 hours, right? I didn't know how long it was going to go. And, my thing with all these guest podcasts is, and I realized this, I feel like pretty early, like one of our first maybe guest podcasts that we did where it's like an hour, if you don't really know the person, is where you're getting all of that like awkward kind of we're saying hi and getting used to each other and like trying to get a feel for each other kind of stuff out of the way. And then the conversation really starts flowing after that, right? So I think 2 hours with people that you don't know is such an ideal amount of time.
Yeah, 100%.
So Garrett wound up, I mean, we like that conversation. I think that was one of my favorite podcast episodes that we've ever done. And I think the reason for it is the conversation just kept flowing, man. Like I felt like we could have done 3 hours easily with him. Right? Oh, yeah. It's just one of those ones where it's just like, I felt like we were both vibing off of it. I felt like being prepared, obviously, with my list of questions, they all just felt like they like seamlessly rolled into each other. His answers to all of them were really awesome. I just thought that was a cool podcast. Like I think in the dog training world, one thing that's fascinating to me is talking to people that are involved in things that are slightly outside of what I do. And even though right now, obviously Garrett is doing board and trains, right? And we're doing board and trains, and we're kind of working with the same type of dogs, I would say. Mm-hmm. The background on the like police canine work and stuff like that. Like I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff. I'm fascinated with hunting dog stuff, which is something I have on my list of I want to get somebody on for it. There's been a couple pages I followed recently that are just like, let me see if I can pull one up real quick. Yeah, this person. I found this person the other day. Just look at some of these videos, right?
Oh, there you go.
Right? So they're like, I love this gun dog work where they just have these massive packs of like labs and stuff.
Yeah.
And just one at a time, just complete individual control over these dogs.
Yeah.
Sending them on retrieves and stuff. I'll post videos. This one's just him. Like out on long retrieves in these giant open fields and shit weather.
Yeah.
Just impressive to me, right?
Yeah, that's sick.
Like I love and the Dog Daddy talked about this a little bit, right? Like how he's always had kind of packs of dogs, right? I love that like pack vibe. Right?
Yeah.
There is something to it, right?
Oh,
that's
yeah,
that's what everybody did like Caesar when Caesar first came around and everything was just like, look at Caesar with this fucking group of 15 dogs. He's walking down the street and they're all dialed in with him and stuff like that. Yeah. I think that kind of shit is really cool. So the police canine side of things, I think that world is very fascinating. And to hear from the outside in of somebody that was involved in all of it and then was not involved in it, to hear him talk about obviously the pros, the cons, the things he was trying to push for, the problems within it, stuff like that. Again, I think we could have done a whole episode just on that.
Oh, yeah. I hope we have him back for that.
Yeah, for sure. like I said, I really, that person in particular, I got to reach out to right after the holidays. I want to see if we can kind of squeeze somebody like that in, obviously, and start getting some of that world on the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see all the different aspects of training, you know, not just pet dog world, but there's all these different forms and ways that people go about things, you know? And I think that's really cool to delve into that for people.
Yeah. Then obviously we transitioned to the dog daddy one. That one, I literally had no fucking clue what we were going to talk about going into it.
I know.
You know, like I had I come with like a list of like I like having like talking points. This isn't like a formal like, interview where I'm like, this question, this question, right? I need things I can look down on a fly and just like bring up a point that's going to like trigger some sort of conversation. So I try to do that, obviously. And I don't know why I was like fully expecting going into that one. I was like, God, I'm going to need a lot of talking points here because I just didn't know how that conversation was going to flow.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that dude just talked, man.
Just went, man.
I told everyone, I got to the shop, I was cracking up about it. I was like, I feel like I just got off of like 60 Minutes or something. You know, Tim Hansen or whatever the guys that does 60 Minutes, right? I felt like that. I felt like I literally felt like I got like the exclusive, the exclusive interview with the dog daddy.
Yeah,
right?
Literally the tells all. It literally was.
He's like such a divisive. Is that the right word?
I think
such
so.
a divisive character. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but
I'd take it.
I'll take it. You know, and it's so funny, like that wound up being literally is to this day right now our most viewed podcast we've ever done. Like in 1 week, it's already at, I think in total, like 3,500 streams.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
Which is significant. I mean, like we do pretty well on this podcast, obviously stream-wise and stuff like that, but for 1 week, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And dude was open to like sharing it. He shared it on his YouTube channel, which he's got like over 1 million followers on. He shared it on his Instagram. Yeah. So that was pretty tight. I thought it was an interesting conversation. And I'll tell you, okay, so that one triggered, as I expected, triggered some serious like controversy, right? Yeah. People fucking hate that guy.
Hate him.
Like hate that dude with a burning passion. And listen, right? I'm not here to say either way, you know, I agree, I disagree, this, that. But people really hate that guy. Like we posted a clip on TikTok from the podcast episode, and you know, obviously we know TikTok is like fucking
cesspool
just in the first place, right? But people were blowing up on it. I think we got like 15 comments from people just like, did you ask him about the money he owes to people? Did you ask him about this? Did you ask him about that? And I'm just like, I didn't know it was my job to be the fucking debt collector. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right?
I'm just trying to have a conversation with the guy. I don't know who the fuck he owes money to, right? Or like
no, exactly
like that.
And you know, kudos to him because he did talk about a lot of the controversies.
He did, and I feel bad, right? So, and this is where you know you can get crazy with the controversy of the dog daddy, right? So there's a page out there that everybody can go and search for. It's an Instagram or not Instagram page. Sorry, it's a Facebook group called like. The truth about ultimate German Shepherds or something like that. Because I think ultimate German Shepherds is the group that he used to breed dogs under or something like that. Right. Yeah. And, you know, I did quite a bit of research onto that because there was like some pretty serious controversy surrounding the guy for a little bit, you know, as far as like he was talking about like one of the places he used to live at, and then he had a really bad falling out with the person, and they basically were posting all these pictures and like talking about the dogs were living in bad conditions. And then there was all this like talk of he dumped all his dogs somewhere. And then there was all this talk of like, there were like, you know, if you go on the page, there's like a clip or not a clip. Sorry. There's like a couple of pictures of like that, like, you know, 15-acre property or whatever it was. There were a bunch of like animal bones, excuse me, scattered around, and they were posting it like as if those were like dog bones, right? And that he was like killing dogs on his property and like burying them. And if you dig into all the comments and stuff of it, everybody, like there's people out there that, and listen, I don't know anything about this, obviously, But there's people out there, as far as like how to identify bones, right?
Yeah.
But there's people out there that are looking at them. They're like, those are definitely not dog bones, right?
Yeah.
That's like a goat or something. And they were able to like identify it based on like the nostrils and like the what the skeleton looked like. And it's not like there was like a gazillion of them, but like the dude has on his YouTube channel. This is, again, controversial stuff. I don't know if I necessarily love this or not, but he's got a video. One of his most viewed videos on his YouTube channel has like 5 million views. Is him feeding his pack of dogs like a fucking like a goat or something, like basically whole, right? Like Jesus. Like it's wild, right?
Yeah, okay.
But it's like, again, it's got like fucking 5 million views on YouTube, right? Like it's not illegal to do by any means,
Yeah. Well, I think people like forget that he grew up in Brazil, which I mean, stuff like that was just probably how things work down there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So, the fact of the matter is, the reason why I say all this kind of stuff is I can feel for the guy a little bit, right? Because he's such a hated guy, right? People despise this dude, right? For all these different reasons, right? And as you dig into it, I was really trying to do my best to dig into some of the controversial stuff and like see if there was any sort of weight behind any of it. And all of it, almost all of it, right? I could be corrected. I'm not a fucking investigator here, right? I'm not here to investigate the dog daddy by any means. But virtually all of it seems like it's just a he said, she said. You know what I mean? It seems like he probably burned a couple bridges. Does it sound like he may have been a little sketchy from the standpoint of maybe owing some people some money or things like that? Sure, right? Like, but it sounds like he burned some bridges, and then some people were just really, really, really out to get him, but there wasn't really any weight behind the claims, Yeah. So I don't know. I feel bad, but like, so there's this girl talking about, all this. This is a drama episode, guys, right? This is Miracle Canine drama episode take number 5 or whatever. We do these every now and then. I was supposed to do this podcast episode last Thursday, right? It was the TikTok Live. I think I told you, right? I was supposed to do this TikTok Live with this girl. And basically it was sparked from, she kind of, it seems like she's very into like going around on TikTok and finding trainers she disagrees with and like basically bashing them, right? And saying, I hate what you're doing, this, that. Like, I think she commented on a video that I posted working with a food aggressive dog. And she's just like, nobody gives a fuck what you think and blah, blah, blah. Like, it kind of started that way. And then she was like commenting on our buddy Hoosier Canine's live, basically saying like, you're associating yourself with Miracle Canine. He's such a terrible trainer, blah, blah, blah. And Hoosier's just like, well, he's a nice guy. Like, maybe you should like, he'd be a good person to talk to, like go have a conversation with him. So whatever. So we wound up emailing back and forth a couple times, me and this girl, and we were set. We were going to do a TikTok Live / podcast episode, right? So we were going to have the Zoom set up. We were going to have the TikTok Live set up because she wanted to do TikTok Live. I wanted to do podcast episode. So it was kind of the compromise with it. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. So we were set to do it. Links were sent out to, hey, here's for the Zoom call, all this kind of stuff. And then Thursday came around, and like 3 hours before we were supposed to do the episode, I get an email just saying, sorry, I'm sick. I can't do it. Even though the day before, I saw that she was on Zoom calls with all of her subscribers that she has doing Zoom calls. So listen, I'm not saying she wasn't sick, but I'm saying sounds like she might have used that as an excuse to not do the live.
Dodged.
Then right, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be out of town for most of December. Like, December is going to be really rough for me to like do like another one of these things. I was like, I would still really love to do this. I would really love to have this conversation, right? Because this would be another one of those, like, I don't even know if I would call this one a civil disagreement. I mean, this girl really doesn't like me, right? So, like, this probably would have been a little bit more of like a heated debate, maybe, Interesting, nonetheless, right? I'm always down to talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah.
So I said, let's lock something in for first of the year, right? Like, we could do like first week of January. We could schedule it. I was like, I'd like to get it scheduled. She's like, yeah, I think I'd be down for that, right? I think the next day is when we posted the dog daddy clip, and she emailed me back. And she said, let me pull this up.
Pull up the receipts.
Funny. Pull up the receipts.
Oh, man.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. I will not be doing a podcast with you after seeing that you had the dog daddy on your podcast. # having a person in their history, having a person with much abusive and neglect behavior towards human and dogs is downright horrible training on your podcast is shameful. So she doesn't want to do a podcast with me anymore. Then she proceeded to make a TikTok, like, what do they call it? Stitch, right? Where they show your video and then they show them talking after. And she made a stitch of like the dog daddy clip that we posted, which is just like a 2-second thing showing his face. And then basically just was like, David, I emailed you, but I want everybody to see this also. You know, I don't even remember what the problem is. I can't even play it because she had like ridiculously loud music over it that like didn't even make any sense. Oh, you couldn't hear anything she was saying in it. Right? Oh. Whatever. You could go, if you search Miracle Canine on Twitter, you'll find her stitch that she made and you'll be able to watch it and you could at least read the subtitles. It was kind of long or else I'd read it on here. But basically in a nutshell was like, you know, you're such a terrible trainer. I can't believe you would associate yourself with the dog daddy. I don't want to have a conversation with you anymore. And then proceeded to basically say, dog daddy's killing dogs and abusing dogs and this and that. And getting back to what we were talking about earlier, you could go on all these exposed pages. I don't see any evidence that any of that is happening, right? I'm not saying it's not. Listen, I'm not.
Yeah, we're not advocating.
Right? I'm not advocating for it by any means. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything that the guy does by any means, right? But if that stuff actually was true, he would be in jail.
Yeah.
He would literally be in jail, right? So that's the thing that kills me, right? There was a case that happened a couple years ago. There was a guy in Columbus. His name was Stephen Baldwin. You probably remember hearing me talk about this guy a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
He was like a Columbus sensei. He was the Columbus dog wizard for a little bit,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a younger guy. And he wound up leaving Columbus and moving to Los Angeles, right? And running like this dog rehabilitation center out of Los Angeles. And there was a bunch of controversy surrounding this guy also, right? And he wound up getting tried for like 10 counts of like animal cruelty, like all this like really serious stuff, right? Yeah. He got tried for some serious shit. And I believe, I could be mistaken about this, I know he's in jail. I believe he's serving like a very, very serious sentence right now. Like I think like 20 some years or like the dude is going to be gone for a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's one of those things where I look at this kind of stuff like, the legal system works if we let it work, right? And people can debate that all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if there was evidence behind these claims being true, like I'm sure people smarter than myself are investigating it, and they don't need me.
Yeah.
Doing a podcast episode exposing him or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'll get figured out, and the dude will go to jail if that's happening.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see any evidence that it's happening, and past that, I want to have conversations with people regardless, right? Let's say the Stephen Baldwin guy, right? I'd do a podcast episode with him for sure. Now, I'd be in a fucking different light, that's for sure. I'd be like, yo, bro, like, let's talk about this shit, right? But here's the thing. I think this is one thing that I've always strived for, right? I want to have conversations because I am fascinated by what people do, why they do it, and what's going on in their head while they're doing those things, right? Regardless if they're doing really awesome things or really terrible things, I'm fascinated by all the above. Why do you think true crime documentaries are so popular right now? People want to know the tea, right? People want to get inside of people's heads in the midst of all of this kind of stuff. So that one, whatever. So long story short, right? That was a full of drama one, right?
Yeah.
And then you get into like, I think she was saying stuff, or somebody was saying stuff like advocating for, like I advocate for conversation, but not platforming people like that. And that, I don't understand that point, right? Because isn't one also the other, right? If I'm advocating for conversation with somebody, even if I disagree with them, aren't you kind of platforming them also?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know, when people act like that, it's like they're stuck in this weird echo chamber of their own ideals, like if you want to change people's minds or whatever, like you have to have these conversations with them, or what are you doing when you're just like, we don't ban them and don't talk to them and all that,
That's a really great point. And I forgot where I heard this. You know what I think I heard this on? I was listening to a podcast episode that had like that John Bartholomew, the Punisher guy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It was him and I think Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
Did you listen to that episode? We talked about this, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
A little bit.
But he was talking about it, and obviously, Shia LaBeouf was in the face of a lot of controversy, and everybody was kind of like axing him and stuff over, different allegations and stuff like that. Whatever. But John had him on his podcast, and they were talking, and at one point, John was talking about how everybody was saying, no, don't have Shia LaBeouf on your podcast. Don't have him on. He's a terrible person, and this and that, whatever. And John said something that I thought was intelligently said, right? He said something along the lines of, if we really want to make change in the world with people that are, having issues, doing bad things, whatever it may be, he said, removing yourself from their life sometimes is, or just axing them out is not the way to do it, right? Yeah. If we actually want to be able to influence somebody's behavior, getting closer to them and getting to a place where there's some mutual trust and some respect will position you to then have the leverage to have hard conversations with those people later on.
Yes.
Right? And listen, again, I'm not here to fucking change the dog daddy's views and opinions or anything like that, right? Like he can do what he does as long as he's not doing anything illegal. Right?
Yeah.
I don't see that he's in jail or doing anything illegal, obviously, right? But, let's look at so Hoosier Canine, right? That whole podcast that I did with him was sparked from a bunch of TikTok controversy and, him obviously not agreeing with things that I was doing, and he wanted to have a conversation about it, and we talked about it, and we had a very respectful conversation, and now him and I wouldn't say we're friends, right?
Yeah.
But like, him and I will DM back and forth, right? And we'll talk to each other. And while all this stuff was going on with the dog daddy, I was reaching out to him and discussing it with him a little bit and stuff like that. And him and I have developed a relationship where I'm sure that he disagrees with a shit ton of stuff that I do, right? And I don't necessarily care how he trains, but how he trains isn't necessarily how I would train either, right?
Yeah.
But we have respect for each other enough where like we're able to have these conversations and trust that the feedback and the opinions that we give each other back and forth are valid and not coming from like a negative place.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important with this kind of stuff. And again, that's what I want to do with the podcast.
Yep. And that's why discourse is one of the most important things that I don't want to say cancel culture, but that is what it is. Like you need to have the conversations in all aspects of life to be able to have any kind of reconciliation.
Yeah.
Because if you just live in your own bubble and just try to outcast everybody, well, that's how you get people to hate you and your views.
It just seems like a shitty way to live. I don't know.
100%.
So another thing. So I was talking to Hoosier Canine about the situation with the dog daddy, right? Because whatever, as this girl, the Beyond the Walk, whatever, was making all this shit about us. He was, I would say, kind of defending us a little bit, right? A little bit, right? He likes to play mediator, which I love. I think it's great, right? Like he goes in and he's just like, guys, let's all get along. Right? He's kind of that vibe, right?
He's a super nice guy.
So I started kind of messaging him about the situation and kind of filling him in on, because I didn't know how much he knew. He didn't know how much I knew. I was explaining to him, like a lot of the things that all these people are saying, like I don't see anything showing that any of it is true, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, that makes sense. It sounds like you did quite a bit of research into it. But anyways, that spark we were talking about, I was like, yeah, the Beyond the Walker, I was like, I would have loved to have a conversation with her. She didn't seem like she, obviously she said she didn't want to anymore, but like leading up to that conversation I was supposed to have with her on Thursday, I spent a lot of time on her page, right? And to give you guys some context for anybody that gives a shit, again, this is a drama episode. This is for the people that like the drama, right? This is not for your average dog owner that wants to learn about dog training right now. But, I spent quite a bit of time on her page, and she's a a very knowledgeable dog trainer, right? I mean, like, there's a lot of shit that she was posting that I was like, I really dig the things that you're saying, right? I agree with a ton of the stuff that she was putting out there. She just started a podcast recently. She had her first episode, I think, and I listened to the whole thing. It was like an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. I listened to it. I was like, there's really not a whole lot that you're saying in here that I disagree with. You know what I mean? Like, it was all very good. But I said, I was like, my problem is I hate this, like, using your platform to just absolutely try to crush other people, right? It's like it's your sole intention. Like, when you go through somebody's page and out of every 5 videos, 2 or 3 of them is you talking about why something somebody else is doing is so terrible, right? It personally rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't understand. I have always been of the mindset of, I want to see how much we agree on, right? Let's figure out how many things in this whole dog training universe we see eye to eye on things first. So we could understand that first and foremost, we're much more similar than we think, right? We did this before when we looked at positive only blog posts and stuff like that. And it wound up being like 80% of the stuff we totally agreed with.
Yeah.
Right? And for the dog world, by highlighting those things, then we could at least all come together and say, like, wow, like, all of these points, these are great points. These are things we all can push out there and we need to be doing more of. Joey said, he was like, but that, he said, her and himself in some cases and stuff like that, they understand that we agree on a lot of things, but they think that it's tremendously more value, and I'm paraphrasing here, right? Tremendously more valuable to focus on the things that we disagree on. And that just, I get what he's saying with it from the standpoint of, like, you know, we have strong opinions on why some of these things are bad, obviously, but it just feels like a shitty way to look at the world.
Yeah.
It feels like a shitty way to look at the world of, let me find the things that we don't agree on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't, like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, I think first and foremost, you should always try to find the things that you agree upon, and then after that, you can work towards the things that you have disagreements on, but then you have a better chance of coming to a resolution, I feel like.
It gets back to the trust thing we were just talking about also. Like, if you want to change somebody's opinion on things, you have to build rapport and you have to build trust.
Yeah.
Then you could kind of go in and you could have real honest conversations with that person on the things that they're doing, while being able to view them as, like, still a person and not that much different than you. Because if you focus too much on the negative side of things, you're immediately looking at them as, like, you're a different human than I am, right? But we're not that much different. We do some things a little bit differently, but we're not that much different. And if we start with that frame of reference, I think a lot of the anger and the emotion and stuff kind of melts away a little bit, so you could have more real conversations with people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Maybe she'll come around.
We'll see. So that's the newest update in the Miracle Canine. It's not even, you know what it's interesting is, like, this is the dog ethos drama. You know what I mean? Because none of this actually pertains to, like,
I know,
the actual company itself, which is a lot of the reason why I like this podcast and stuff, is because this gives me that opportunity to, like, this is the slightly disconnected, like, Miracle Canine is here. Like, if we're in a solar system right now, right? Miracle Canine is Earth. Yeah. And this podcast is like the moon that kind of surrounds and goes around Earth, but isn't Earth, right? And it can move into different places within the solar system. That's a stupid way of looking at it, but that's the way that I look at it.
And it takes all the meteor hits.
It takes all the meteor hits. Yeah. It's like the buffer, right?
Yeah, the buffer zone. Pretty much. You know, now that I'm thinking about it too, it's like, let's just take, proper pause. Like, those podcasts were some of my favorites.
Super good.
Besides American Canine Standard, I think that's just my favorite one. Sorry, like, it was so good, like you said earlier. But I think talking to her and, like, that, I think that's what we did for both of them. Like, both times she's come on, it's like all we do is talk about the the alignment and like agreements that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not an hour and a half of just disagreeing on, oh, well, you should have done it this way. It's more like, oh, well, I totally get what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe this is how I would have done it, but I totally get why that works for you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why those podcasts to me were so good, because it was just an hour and a half, 2 hours of seeing completely different styles of training getting along. And like you said, I wish that's what would happen more often in this TikTok training ethos, you know? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Those ones just
we'll still get there. I believe in it.
Yeah, I do too.
Little by little, just chip away. You know, like it's so funny. Like when I was gonna have that girl on, like I was just like, I forgot who I was talking to about it, but I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm expecting her to be like hot coming into it. You know?
Like, for sure.
Like, because that just seems like kind of a little bit of her personality, which whatever, that's fine. But I was like, I'm just any of those. Like, I'm just trying to just be the absolute like missile of kindness. You know, like I'm launching rockets of kindness into your fucking barrier that you have put up, and I just want to crumble it. I want to crumble the barrier, right?
Yeah, kill it with kindness.
That's it. You know,
because then you just feel like a big butthead if you're the mean person.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, okay. He's not coming at me like I'm the one being an asshole.
No. Yeah. So I think that's all the new drama that's been going on lately. Yeah, there's been a lot of that lately. So we had another thing that really sparked a lot of this is we've had our first official, I would consider this our first official viral video in like a non-negative way.
Yeah.
So we posted a video of Michelle's success with this dog Doppler. It was like a progress update, basically. And it just hit this morning 1.2 million views, and that's been in like a week. So
nice.
That's been pretty fucking slick. It's funny. Ella texted me the other day. I think it hit 1 million yesterday. And she texted me yesterday morning, and she's like, Doppler just hit 1 million. It's officially a viral video. And I was like, I think 1 million is kind of the marker now. It is a viral video at this point.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. We've seen quite a bit of traction just from that. I mean, it hitting that many views, I think we've gone up, 2,000, 2,200, 2,600, I think, actually, now at this point, followers in just about a week, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And all of our other videos and stuff are starting to gain some traction from it, so that's very exciting. The crew continues to crush it at the facility. We're moving into the end. The end of the year is so weird, because it's like, it's December. What is it? December 8th right now, We only got a couple more weeks left in the year. We're closing everything out. Everybody's getting all pumped for the holidays. So, we're just kind of... I like to kind of slow down a little bit in December. And, like, we're still grinding. We're still getting our shit done. But, like, really game planning for the next year.
Yeah.
Last year I did a blog on, like, how to crush your goals in 2022. And I think all of it pertained pretty well. I want to try to put something together again this year of like really like, hey, this is the vision board for 2023 now.
Yeah. I think go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I think it'd be cool, because I think we have a couple left of these before the end, the new year. Yeah. I think it'd be cool if you did like, not a full transparency, but just kind of like, what kind of ups and downs that you had with the business, just for like all the trainers that listen through?
Yeah. I thought about that the other day. I wanted to put together like biggest, like a list of like biggest client wins, biggest client failures,
Yeah.
Biggest business win, biggest business failure. I wanted to put together some sort of like real list like that.
Yeah.
And like review it and talk about it and stuff like that.
I think that'd be a good one.
I think that might be a good idea that we kind of get into.
Yeah. That'd be a lot of good information for all these young trainers out there.
The young bucks. Hell yeah. What's new on your end? Anything? What do you got to report?
What do I have to report? Not a whole lot. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. I need to... I've unfortunately found myself stagnating because I got in a comfort zone. I'm like, I have enough clients that I'm doing the same, these retainers for 3 different companies, and it's paying the bills, and it's great. And I found myself doing that the last month or so. I've only had a couple of 2 or 3 new clients, and I'm like, I need to get back on my Instagram game. I need to get back on promoting myself outside of that, because I put all my eggs in these baskets, and I need to not do that. But I got in a very comfortable position, if you know what I mean.
What's the hold up with it? Why? What's stopping you from posting a picture and a reel? Maybe not a reel every day, but something every single day.
Nothing. There's nothing stopping me except for myself.
Why don't you put it like a fucking timer in your phone or something? You know how you set alarms?
Yeah.
For 12 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah, I know. I need to do that. I need to get back on the email game too. I need to
some of them cold calls.
A couple freebie shoots, something. I need to get more into that, especially because I keep talking about the product world and shit. So I 100% put it on me for letting myself stagnate for the last couple months, which is unfortunate. But
Josh, you're live on this podcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really think between now and the end of the year, you got what? 2, 3, 4. You got 4 weeks, right? I think you need to post something every day.
Okay. I can do that.
Right now.
All right, starting right now.
12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock today. It's 11:21.
All right.
You posting something up. You got to
right.
post something every day.
All right, every day.
Got to have a good mix of the reels in there.
All right. I'll try to make some reels.
Mix some reels in.
Make one of those. Ooh. Ah. One of those videos.
Oh, yeah. Or you know what the
before
new
and
hot
afters?
thing with the reels is that you probably could make really, really well. You got to stay up to date. And this I do a shit job with because I don't post stuff myself at this point. But you got to stay up to date with these real trends. There's one I've seen lately that's there's this sound bite where it's it starts off with it's a quick little video clip or something like that. 2-second video clip, right? Mm-hmm. And then immediately into photo.
Yeah, I need to
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because you can just use your pictures for it. It's not like you need to have all this video for it.
Yeah. No,
it's
you're right.
you could have a quick clip of the sign for the place and then,
Photo.
burger, steak, drink, this, that, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Ooh, I do have something coming up, which I guess I can talk about because nobody is going to hear this until after it's done. But since I hit 2,000 followers on Instagram, I'm going to do a giveaway. It starts on Monday. And then they have till Friday. And it's a gift card giveaway from 4 of the places I work with.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How are you going to win it? You got to share something?
Yeah. You got to, or you have to follow all the pages. Mm-hmm. You have to like the post and comment underneath. And then you will be entered in for the raffle.
I like that.
Unfortunately, none of you listening to this, you either did it or you didn't, or you won or you lost, because by the time this comes out, it already happened. But I think it'll be a fun one. I got a couple of the restaurants from Intro. I got Mayhall's. I got Cloak.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think it'll be a fun little thing. I think it'll be a good promotion for me, and I think with that, I have to use that momentum through that for the rest of the year with my photos and reels every day.
One post a day. Don't even overthink the captions, That's the thing. It's just post the goddamn picture.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Say Mahals.
Mahals.
That's just tag the place. Just post it, tag the place.
That's it.
Right? And then repost it in the story and tag the place. And I think if you do that, these places will just start reposting it all the time, and then you'll probably just gain a ton more followers from that.
Yeah. Also, I keep reposting the Chris Doe and not taking his advice. I'm like, oh, that's so good, and then I don't implement it myself. I'm like, God, I see it. Yeah, my one friend, every time I post something from him, he's like, so are you going to do it? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Yes.
Wild.
Yeah. So
it's the forever battle, man. It's honestly,
yeah.
It's the struggle of relevancy.
Yeah. I did have, I think the growing pain of that is I had a couple clients, that quote them, right? I give, and I have been doing the 3 tiers, right?
Yep.
Try to push them into the middle. And I had a couple clients that just like never responded after they finally get the quote, and then they don't even say anything. Like not even like a no thank you, like we can't, that's out of my price range. It's just they just like take it as like such a negative thing and then just never talk to you again.
Yeah. I think, this is where, and I hate this shit, but like we've had to do this quite a bit lately. Not had to, but we've done this quite a bit lately, and it's helped, is you got to like tap into that sales side then at that point where it's like I'm sending a follow-up email every other day until you get so annoyed with me that you finally reply back.
Say something.
You know? And like maybe 10% of the time the person will just then feel bad and just sign up. Or, the other thing too, not even feel bad. That sounds bad. I think a lot of people too, like stuff like that'll come across, and like especially if it's not on my list of like serious priorities, it'll just go on the back burner and I'll keep forgetting about it, Yeah. And if the person continues to persist, the odds of me actually like fulfilling and doing it is so much higher than at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a couple of those. I should just be like, hey, just wanted to reach back in.
Yeah. Another thing that's huge is using any sort of like lead generator service, right?
Okay.
Or I don't know if it's a lead generator service or not, but like we use it. It's called Pipeline, right? Or Pipe Drive.
Yeah.
And basically what it is, you put your customer in it and move them along the sales process. So like, let's say you contact somebody, right? You'll have your list of people you've contacted in your life, right?
Okay.
And then, connection actually made, right? So maybe you talk to the person, you leave some notes of the conversation you had, right? Sent quotes could be another one, and then like fulfilled, right? And then you'll be able to look back at like 8 months before, right? 8 months prior, I reached out to all these people, and we got all the way to the stage of me reaching out to them about price, and then I never heard back from them, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then 8 months later, you can reach out, hey guys, we had talked about this in the past, nothing ever wound up coming about from it, just wanted to reach out, see, was it a price thing? Is it just you didn't need the photos? And like re-spark that connection then from there, and then address whatever the problem is. Like if it was a price thing, okay, well, let's see if we could either recalibrate in your head on why you think this is not going to be valuable per the price that it is, or let's see if we can come up with a custom program that might be a little bit more affordable for you so you could still get the products for you,
Yeah.
I think having a way to really be able to track all the people you've reached out to and stay on top of following up. And I think those like 6 month later follow-ups are really, really key with stuff. I've had some people I've reached out to that like I hadn't talked to in like 4 months, 5 months, stuff like that. And it's like I reach out to them and like maybe 3 days before their dog was just like an annoying piece of shit. And like, they're like, now I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing too, I think, I know me and you have discussed it before, but like having a like a little like sheet that shows them exactly how to use my content, like how can we optimize what you're paying for, like where are the ways you could use it on your website or your SEO for Google or whatever, like, and I think the reason I really want that is because like I don't know if I think I was talking to you about it, but like Corey like put so all the photos when you look up Cloak and Dagger on Google or Apple Maps, when you it's like here it is, and you click on it, all the photos are the photos I've taken.
Yeah, so it looks good. It
so
doesn't look all crappy.
Yeah, it's not just like those will still come up, but like they're way back if you keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Like so it's all these photos that they've put together and and that I've taken, and it looks so like clean and fresh. And I need to like have something to show people like, hey, this is how you can optimize this, and that's why this is worth it,
For sure.
I don't know.
Plans for the new year,
There it is. 2023.
Yeah, I think we'll try to do that. Maybe one of our next episodes, put together, wins, failures, all that kind of stuff. We'll break all those things down.
Yep.
We could do the same. We'll
Sure.
talk about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The
But
business.
I think,
David the Business Podcast.
yeah. I think today was the drama episode.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Everybody likes a little tea every now and then.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I think we needed it, too, after all that.
You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. That is it for me.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, hope you enjoyed the podcast. And this one's going to be coming out right before Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Think we're going to have a white Christmas?
I know I'm going to have a white Christmas in Germany. It's supposed to snow every day we're there.
mean,
Ooh, shit.
Well, there you go.
So, I don't know. Until then.
All right, bye.